Hello, I'm Matt from Leicester Libraries and I'm going to tell you a story. But before I start, let me ask you this riddle. See if you can work this one out. I have a clue here, but maybe you won't really be able to tell from just a stalk and a few leaves. We'll see. 100 black eyes have I and a mane of golden hair. I grow ever upwards, reaching high towards my namesake in the sky. What am I? By the end of the story, if you don't know already, I'm sure you'll have the answer. So this story, well, it could be as old as 1,000 years, who knows? It's about an old mandarin who needs to choose his successor. What's a mandarin? Put it this way, I first heard this story from a famous English storyteller called Taffy Thomas. And, well, because he tells this story in England, he tells the story about the mayor of a town. And so that's what I'll do. Now, the mayor of this town, he was getting old. He'd been a good mayor, his decisions, his governance had been wise, but like happens to all of us, he began to feel the ache of old age in his bones, and he knew that the time had come to hand over his golden chain of office to somebody new. But he didn't want somebody greedy or self-serving. He wanted somebody who would look after the people. He wanted the people to thrive under the new mayor just as they had done under him. Now, lots of people wanted to be the mayor. It was a really good job. You had a golden chain of office, as you've already heard, and you get driven round in a beautiful black carriage with 4 magnificent horses with golden bells jingling on their harnesses. You get invited to dinners at the best houses and hotels and inns in the town. So lots of people, of course, wanted to be the mayor. And the mayor was concerned about how he would decide who was a suitable successor. He thought about it and he thought about it until he was nearly pulling his hair out, and he had a pounding headache, and all he could think of to do in the end was go for a walk in his garden. As you can see, I'm out in my garden telling you this story. Outside he saw old Bob the gardener. Now gardeners, they're quiet, often, and easily overlooked, but, well, they can also be quite wise. It might have something to do with all the patience it takes to coax new life, green shoots, flowers and plants from tiny little seeds and plain brown earth. Maybe that's it. But the mayor, well, he told Bob his problem. And Bob, he smiled, one of his quiet smiles, and he whispered something into the mayor's ear. And when he whispered that thing, the mayor smiled too. And that very day, he made an announcement. Now, the next day, all the wannabe mayors had come to the mayor's house, and they were all lined up, and at the end of the line was young Jack. Now, Jack, well, he was only a young lad, but he was one of life's optimists. He thought he was quite clever, and people told him he was kind, and they always responded well to his sunny smile, and he thought that despite his youth, he would probably make a very good mayor. So there he was, in line with all the others. And the mayor came out with a small pot in his hand, and he went down the line and he took 2 tiny black seeds from the pot, and he dropped them into each person's palm. 2 seeds into every hand in the line, and the people, well, they wrinkled their brows and they frowned in confusion. What could this be about? But once everybody had been given their 2 seeds, the mayor made an announcement. Take those 2 seeds, he said, that I have given you, and plant them in good brown earth in a pot. And at the end of 1 month, whoever has grown the tallest and proudest sunflower. We'll bring it back here and that person will be named as my successor. Well, the people, they took their seeds home, and Jack, he took his 2 seeds home, and he found an old terracotta pot in the shed just like this one, and he filled it with good brown earth, and he dipped 2 holes with his finger, and he dropped a seed into each hole. Patted the earth down and he watered it, and he put it out in the yard where it would get sunshine and rain, and he waited. For the first week, he checked every day in excitement, looking for those tiny green shoots. By the end of the second week, he was beginning to worry. By the end of the third week, when still nothing had pushed through the earth, he was in despair. And at last, the day came when he was to take his pot of earth back to show the mayor. Jack's mum could see that he was in despair. "Are you going to take that pot back to the mayor?" she said. "There's not much point, is there?" said Jack. "Nothing's grown." "You've done your best, son. I think you should take it anyway." So Jack took his pot of dirt and he stood in line at the mayor's house, and all the others in line had beautiful tall sunflowers glowing in the morning light. And the mayor came out and he walked down the line and he inspected each sunflower with great care, and he nodded in approval and he smiled and looked at the flowers until he came at last to Jack's pot of dirt. And he could see from the poor lad's face, and he put a kind hand on Jack's shoulder. And he turned to the crowd and he said, "This boy, this is the person who shall be the mayor after me." Jack was astonished, and the crowd, well, they were howls and shouts of protest. How could this be? He had nothing but a pot of earth, and look at our beautiful flowers. "Ah," said the mayor, "the thing is this. The seeds that I gave you, they had all been boiled. So none of you have grown those flowers from the seeds I handed out. And young Jack here, with his pot of dirt, he has proven that he is the only honest one among you. And I highly recommend that you elect him for your next mayor." Of course, the people could see the sense in that, and Jack was chosen for mayor. And despite his youth, he was a very good mayor indeed. And that's the end of my story, and by now I'm sure you have worked out the answer to my riddle. In about another month's time, this plant, this stalk and leaves that you can see, will be a beautiful golden sunflower. Maybe you should have a go at growing your own. Thanks for listening. Bye.